live. Hello. What's happening, interwebs? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, no matter where you are in the world. What's going on? We are live here on Ask an Arborist and Arborist on Demand. My name's Matt Latham. I'm your host. We're going to talk about trees because guess what? People need help with their trees. And it turns out a lot of these tree guys are greedy and selfish. And, you know, there's that old joke is like, if you happen to be a hammer, everything looks like a nail to you. And, you know, I have experienced this extensively in my industry is so many tree guys just want to cut them down, just want to chop them up, just want to prune them wrong. And so that's what we're here to dispel. We're here to dispel all of those myths about your trees. And thank God we've got this great group over here called Ask an Arborist. We are, y'all, this is nuts. We're pushing 1,500 members right now, and it's like 1,478 or something like that. And we've got a little over 150 people that are actually visiting. So that's like, if you're a mathematician, that's like 1,700, a little bit more than people that are in this group actively participating and asking questions, just like Maria Fotio over here. We're going to get to her question here real quick. First, a little bit of housekeeping. So first of all, my name's Matt Latham. I am a Board Certified Master Arborist. You see that sign up there. And I'm Ask a Registered Consulting Arborist. There it is. And there are about 100 to 120, depending on the time and depending on the season, people that have both of those credentials. So I like to think that I know what I'm talking about. Every now and then, God in his infinite wisdom puts me in a humble position and I'm proven wrong. And I'm okay with that. But ultimately, quite frankly, trees are a major part of our lives. They're very important to us as human beings. And so what we're doing is we're going to answer your tree questions. And like I said, Maria's got a great question here. But like I said, trees are so important to us, y'all. They are the air that we breathe. They are the homes that we build and live in. They produce the wood. That's important for them. Yeah, so I got Lucas de la Vega in my ear here. He is my boy wonder. He's my right-hand man. He keeps me organized and from doing stupid things and making me look like an idiot. So I'm very glad and grateful to have him as a part of my team. And he is reminding me that we've got some housekeeping in terms of scheduling. Y'all, this is getting out of control. I want you to look at this. Hold on just a second. Let me pull this up real quick. We are, like I said, about 1,500 members, about 1,700 people actively participating in this group. And it's getting crazy. We are growing. Let me show you this. This is nuts. I hope you can see this. You see that number down there? Maybe not. You can't see it. You can't really see it. What it says is we had 187 people that showed up just in the last week to join this group. And that is insane, y'all. We're growing almost 200 per week. Now, I did the math and asked a little AI to help me out with it a little bit because I'm lazy like that. Hopefully, you're using AI as a resource, not as a replacement for you. But it's a great resource. And I was just curious, like, what would it take to get to 10,000 per by the end of 2025? And it turns out it's right around 390 people per week. And we're like literally halfway there, y'all. This is crazy. And I couldn't have done it without you guys. We've got some great folks that have joined us and are really participating and trying to help us out. And it's been really exciting. One of them I actually visited today, Christine Bailey, has been a wonderful resource. You'll see her name as we go through these questions. But I actually stopped by her house after we did some construction work. And I was actually out there pruning myself, y'all. If you know me, man, I'm getting old and fat and I don't do a lot of pruning anymore. But I was on a construction project where we had a crane that had to get in so they could lift a 27,000 pound generator. And of course, we want to preserve the trees. They've got some beautiful trees on that property. And so what we did was we did a little creative pruning, very minimal. If you know me, minimal is best. Very little pruning to get the right results is important to me. And so we did a little pruning to allow the crane in, to allow this 27,000 pound generator to go into this very prestigious community this little high-rise community, high-rise condominium, if I can use words, community to basically, like, whenever we have hurricanes, not have electrical outages. So I was out there doing some pruning. If you notice, I'm a little bit sweaty and a little bit just disheveled today. That's okay though, because trees are messy and so am I. I like to joke with my clients and say, man, I haven't been dirty in like 20. I've been doing trees for almost 23 years. But I tell my clients I've been dirty for like 23 years, except for date nights and Sundays. So anyways, got a little dirty out in the field today and just glad to be here, y'all. You got some great questions. So we're going to be splitting this up because we are getting an average of like 20 questions per day. What's up, Christine? I was just talking about you. I was stopping by. She has been such a wonderful resource to this community and has been answering y'all's questions all over the place. So we're going to go through and I'm going to give you kudos where kudos are earned and deserved. And we'll talk some trees. So we're starting off tonight with Maria Fautier. Fotia. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry, Maria. I don't know where you're from, but can somebody please tell me what's going on with my Japanese maple borers? I'm going to take a wild guess and say that you are not in Houston, Texas, Maria. It looks like you've got a New Jersey-sized Japanese maple. And I got to be honest, I'm like, it's not looking good, Maria. It's not looking good at all. It looks like the tree was topped many years ago, maybe 3 to 7 to 10, somewhere in there. And you've definitely got some limbs that were lost. Hey, Lucas, can you text me that link to this chat? That would be really helpful. I'm gonna send it to my client here. Just the whole video stream. Getting back to you, Maria. I want to send that to my client because she was wondering what we were doing over here. Yeah, so I'll be honest. I don't see a lot of life in this tree, Maria. I don't know if it was borers or fungus, or it looks like just a plethora of stressors that are affecting this tree. You got a topped tree years ago. You've got all this decay. Let's see if we can find it. Let's go back here. Wait a minute. I'm going to probably need this microphone, don't I? Yeah, looks like you got maybe some sort of magnolia or ligustrum here. I can't really tell, but yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not seeing a lot of life in this. What you can do, Maria, you can we call it the scratch test. And essentially what you do is you just take your thumbnail or your fingernail, whichever is stronger, and you just scratch the bark. And what you're looking for, you want to scratch the underside. Don't scratch the top because that can lead to further infection and decay and things like that. But essentially just scratch it and see your by the way, your fingernail is denser than the tree's bark oftentimes. So not going to hurt you. Don't worry about that. If you got beautiful nails that you spent bukus of dollars on, you got some fungal growth here. I can see that. That is mycelium damage. You definitely maybe had some sun scald that might have started that. But I'm definitely seeing some decay here, and I'm not seeing good signs. I think your tree is probably a goner. And again, I'm so sorry. I always hate to be the bearer of bad news, y'all. But I'm not seeing good signs here. One thing you can do is do that scratch test. See if there's green tissue on like the smaller branches beyond where that tree was topped, and see if you've got some life in it. If it's green, that's a great sign. If it's like dry and brown, not a good sign. So I'm sorry. I don't think your tree's going to make it. I'm like, that's a bold statement for not knowing a lot about this, but what you can do is try to get some humic acid and molasses. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up. Here we go. This is a really great product. Here we go. Nope, not that one. Okay, you're going to want some of this. And you're going to want some of this. So humic acid and molasses, like there's no such thing as a cure-all. What was it? Vitamin or something like that. The I Love Lucy deal years and years and years ago. There's no such thing as a cure-all. It doesn't exist. So if somebody tells you, well, you just got to use this product and it's going to cure it, they're wrong. They're a liar. There's so many factors that need to go into this. That's like saying like, well, shoot, if you just take probiotics, you're going to be healthy. Like, no, there's other factors that come into our personal health, and there's other factors that come into your tree's health as well. So make sure that try to use that product. It's Microlife Soil and Plant Energy. It is essentially humic acid, molasses, and a little bit of other like fulvic acid, things like that. But that'll give it kind of an energy boost. But again, hey, Christine, thank you so much. It was great seeing you today. And you're just a phenomenal resource. I'm really glad to have you as part of this community. So thanks for being here. And yeah, carry on. I think, oh, shoot, I didn't mean to click that. I don't even know what games are on the tubes of you and the webs of face. Oh, I hate when I do that. Y'all, I'm sorry. This is like, I'm wasting your time right now. Let's get back to Maria's post. Maybe. There's Marina. Excuse me. A lot of carbonation there. Yeah, but we got a long way to go. No, this is crazy. We got like 50 or 60 different. Yeah, and what we were talking about too, just housekeeping. We're gonna have to break this into like 2 times a week because it is getting out of control. Now, hopefully I'll be able to keep up, because here's the thing. If we start growing at like 250 or 300 per week, there's just no way. I'm going to have to maybe change the rules a little bit with you guys. We've got some awesome arborists in here. By the way, some world-class folks, y'all. Lindsay Purcell, Shem Kendrick, and some others out there are just are lighting it up. And these are like Lindsay Purcell teaches trees to the tree care industry. I do too, not to toot my own horn, but yeah, Michael Gabrilzi. Yo, this guy is another fellow RCA, or soon to be. I think he's still got to maybe submit 1 or 2 of his test questions. Whenever you become a registered consulting arborist, that's that blue sign license over there. I don't know how to zoom in, or I'd show you, but that's this one right there. So there's about 400 to 450 people in the entire world that are registered consulting arborists with the American Society of Consulting Arborists. That is, let me show you these guys. ASCA-consultants.org. That's the American Society of Consulting Arborists. Y'all, this is like, fellow professionals, if you're watching and you see this, if you ever want to go like light years beyond where you are, join ASCA. Even if you're just a member, not a registered consulting arborist, you just hop on that forum. Where is it? Professional development. ASCA resources. Maybe I gotta sign in. Hold on. Let's check this out, because this is going to blow your mind. If you are a member of ASCA, you will have access to the ASCA Exchange. Now, the ASCA Exchange, these are some of the top guys in the world. Literally, I'm not even like being facetious or like over exaggerating or being dramatic here, but listen, gender neutral ginkgo, gender neutral, like the types of conversations we have here are right down to the very microscopic level of like terminologies and things like that. We talk about policies and politics regarding trees, things like that. So if you are an arborist and you want to take your career to the next level, join ASCA. It's well worth it. It's going to cost you a small fortune, but beyond worth it, I promise you, because you're going to get connected with some of the best in the world, literally. And so anyways, there's my little plug for the day. I don't get paid from ASCA. Like, that literally changed my career when I joined. And then I became a registered consulting arborist, which means supposedly I know what I'm talking about, whatever. But Michael is a fellow. He and I actually went to Consulting Academy together to become registered consulting arborists. And I believe he's about to be one himself. So, All right, let's check it out. So Will's got a, recently my family put in a new concrete slab and I'm worried about soil compaction near the root zone of this very old bur oak. Ooh, I love bur oaks. Quercus macrocarpa, one of my favorite trees on this planet. The unalivingness on the tips of the branches is from when the house was built about 15 years ago. Great. So you've gotten past that 3 to 5 year section where trees just kind of unalive very rapidly after construction. So that's a good sign. Well, when the house, okay, I would like to avoid the tree declining any further from having a 20-ton machine being driven over it. Is there anything I can do to help minimize the damage already done? Southern Minnesota, rock on, dude. You're talking my language here, Will. Let me show you a project that I was a part of. Sorry for the caps, y'all. This is wicked awesome. If you're in Central Arkansas, want to have a really, really good time, go to Garvin Gardens. It's right near Hot Springs. Great place. Also, I was a part of the building of this treehouse. One of the coolest tree houses you will ever see in your life because it was built by some architects. And it is unreal, you guys. Oh, that's the, yeah, Children's Garden Treehouse. I was hired by the University of Arkansas to basically preserve and protect these trees that hold the treehouse up. Now, one of the methods that we used to prevent soil compaction and keep the trees healthy and thriving, and by the way, this was an RFP that was put out there, y'all. Yeah, that's funny. Your RCA is the PhD of arborist. Haha. That's absolutely true. Yeah, like I said, there's like 400 to 450 RCAs on the planet, and like they're serious. All the guys that I've met as an RCA are absolutely serious. But anyways, going back to this, thanks for that comment, Christine. Love it. So the Garvin Gardens Treehouse, if you want to have a great time, just go check it out. This is like University of Arkansas is a big architecture school, and this is their playground. So they have all these different projects where they go in and they do all kinds of cool things. There's like world-renowned like wedding chapels and stuff like that, like super cool. Some of the pathways even are like really architectural and just so cool. It's well worth your visit. So, and again, I don't get paid from these guys. It's just worth it. 100%, I believe that. But essentially, they've got this plan to build this $1.8 million tree house, right? Well, how do you keep the trees alive when you got to put cranes out there to lift all that stuff up in the air? Well, that's a big problem because compaction, as we've talked about, is like the worst thing you can do for a tree. And so what we did, they had an RFP. They wanted to fertilize, remove a couple trees, and they wanted to put like wood planks on the trunks of some other trees. I said, y'all, this is not enough, not even close. And I said, you know, there's this really cool product. It's called Paver Grid Systems. And there's a bunch of companies that are making this stuff now. But really cool. Let me just go to the images here. No, I don't want that. I don't want you there. Okay. So essentially, it's like really dense plastic, HDPE, high density polyethylene. They come in all different kinds of forms. But essentially what they do is instead of that crane sitting there and compacting the soil, it disperses the weight evenly. So let's say you have 50,000 pounds of crane. Well, that's okay, because if you can distribute that 50,000 pounds over the course of let's say like 120 square feet, then all of a sudden, 120 square feet, all of a sudden, all that crane is not going to compact the soil at all. So I talked to University of Arkansas. I said, look, I understand this is what your RFP says. I understand this is what you want to do. I don't think it's enough. I think that we should do some sort of a paver grid system as a temporary solution. And so essentially we set up a paver grid system. Now we're going through the images here. These are just images, y'all. So, Will, I'm sorry, this is not perfect, but there's a bunch of different options out there. So find a paver grid system, put that down. Now it's going to cost you maybe $3,000-$4,000, but what's the cost of your tree? How much is your tree worth to you? So 6-inch height, geocell system, 230 square feet per panel. That's a bigger system, actually. Most of the ones I'm used to dealing with are 2x2, so that would be 4 square feet. Yeah, no, different. This is Will's talking about how do I stop from compacting the soil. Will, I think you got a soil compaction and an aeration issue in the soil. I think that's why your tree is declining from the tips down, you can see here. But I think the solution for preserving your tree right now with the new construction going on, I think you need to do a paver grid system, just something just like this. Doesn't have to be that. Find a good option that works well and is cost effective for you. But there's loads of different options, lots of companies that are making this stuff. That's going to prevent, every time you drive over those, it's going to prevent that soil from compacting and destroying the tree. I think you got a stressed tree probably caused by soil compaction. So hope that helps, Will, and we are moving on. Hello. There we go. I have a red plush pistache. It is seeping sap. What does it need? Susan, I can't answer your question because I don't have any references to go on. Pictures. Yep, Christine's right. You got to add some pictures. It's very important. Let me know if you get some pictures, throw them up here, and we'll get to your question next week. So next Tuesday. Like I said, we're going to split it into Tuesday and Thursday nights because this is getting out of control, y'all. We get like 50 to 60 questions every single week. Cool. Michael's asking, I am in Hawaii and have a hard time identifying this tree. I assume it's a legume because of the pods. Maybe it has sparse spikes on the trunks and branches. Let's see. Couldn't be a honey locust, could it? Look up honey locust, Michael, and let's see if maybe that's the answer. That could be some sort of eucalyptus, though. That's cool. I have no idea. I wish I knew. You know, there's a great app. It's called Picture This. This is a really cool app. I think it started for iPhone, but they've got it for Android now too. That might be a really good resource. Check that out and see, because like honestly, this is not quite the right place for identification questions, because quite frankly, we're global, right? We get questions all around the world. I was on the phone with Dublin, Ireland the other day. I was on the phone with Australia the other day. I was on the phone with New Zealand the other day. I had a person in Germany the other day reach out to us. So we're all over the place. And quite frankly, there are 27,000 different varieties of trees and like unlimited, it seems, sub-varieties beyond that. So different variations and species and things like that. So anyways, yeah, I'm sorry. I really don't know, to be honest. I wish I did. But man, you got get that picture this out. That might help you. Thanks. Pithosylobium dulce, and possibly a slight offkin because the pods don't seem to have much seeds. There's a cut down tree in the park screen dump, and I'm wondering if the wood is worth turning. I love that. Yeah, if you can preserve it, man, do that. I owned a lathe for a long time. I don't right now because we had to move and I had to get rid of it. But it was my grandfather's lathe, and it was one of the old Mark III, Mark IV, Mark V, something like that. Multi-tools. It's such a cool machine. And unfortunately, when we moved to New Jersey after Dallas, we had to get rid of it because it just wouldn't fit in the moving van. So anyways, hope that helps, buddy. But yeah, glad we could help, or somebody could help you there. But moving on. What's the most cost-effective way to begin training for an arborist certification? Get the book. Oops. Oh my goodness. Yeah, go to isa-arbor.com. That's me. That's my old company, by the way, at ustreecare.com. I don't know why I haven't changed it, but it's there. Take your time, why don't you, ISA? I like to joke and I say, like, I love what I do. I hate my industry. This is one reason why. ISA is very far behind. If y'all are listening and you're a part of the ISA team, talk to me because I got some suggestions. We've been complaining about you guys for a long time. Nothing personal. It's just business, but ask is better. Sorry. All right, let's go to the store. So if you go to isa-arbor.com and you search study guide. Ooh, that's a great book, by the way. Illustrated guide. That's hilarious. The ISA Certified Arborist study guide is not the first on the list. This is what the hell? Excuse my language. Why is the okay? Here we go. Arborist certification study guide. It's $100 for members, $140 for non-members. You can go to eBay, you can go to Amazon, you can go to the old. Lucas made up a good point, like the college textbooks stores, and see if you can find it. But it's a great study guide. I actually love the audiobook version right there, right here. Bingo, bango, bongo. You know what I did? I put that in my, this is like 2009, 2010, where we're driving to our job site. I would put that in the truck and I'd play it. And all my guys, all my crew members had to listen to it. Back then, I think it was $40. So sorry, now it's 80. But it's a great resource. Corinne G. Bassett, Sharon Lilly, it's a great book. Hands down. I loan this out. I've actually got it on loan right now. But yeah, get the audio version and put it on diffusion and osmosis mode. I call it Automobile University. That's a great way to study. So yeah, if I were you, I would absorb everything you can. Keep hanging out here. Study guide's great. But like I said, I love the audio version because you could just plug it in while you're driving to the job site. Keep working. Nowadays, we got Bluetooth in our headsets, in our helmets. You can actually put it on your Cena Bluetooth and man, you'll just win. Like, you're going to listen to that 20 times. And yeah, listen to it all day while you're climbing. Obviously, pay attention when you need to. Don't get unalived. But anyways, hope that helps, Chad. And hey, hit me up. Reach out if you need help on a more personal basis. I'm happy to guide you along as best I can, because we need good, solid guys that can come in and drive this industry to the next level. So thanks for your question there, Chad. Mark's asking, how do I keep this from happening more? Well, you got some decay on that one there. Mark, where are you? Hello. Yeah, tree maintenance is a real thing. Yeah, tree maintenance is a real thing. Just got to keep up on your trimming and thinning. Yeah, so you had some decay that happened here, Michael, or excuse me. Where are you? Mark. I knew there was an M in there somewhere. Yeah, so it looks like somebody pruned that. Decay entered because they did not prune it right. That is a maple of some sort. Now, another thing I might consider is you might have some limbs that unalived above that limb that might have been shading that limb to make sure that it doesn't do that. But that is sun scald that started that, I believe, that unalived the tissue there. That's a lot cheaper than I expected it to be. Guess I'm buying it. Yeah, get it, Christine. Christine, what are you, cancer research or something like that? Like, she's out there, a hero in this world. And she was saying, maybe once we figure out cancer, I'll go be an arborist. Like, please do. We need lots of great people that really understand this stuff and can help grow the industry. Because, and like from what I've seen, you're crushing it. So thank you for being a part of this group, Christine. And again, she's been so helpful. She happens to be a native Houstonian like me, actually in Friendswood down in the nearer to my area. I'm south of Houston, by the way, so it's freaking hot here. That's why if you see me sweating, it's just like 120 something or so, give or take. But she's been such a great part of this community that we actually gave her some MicroLife for free. By the way, if you haven't heard about MicroLife, we sell this stuff now. It's unbelievable. I met Mike 3 or 4 years ago, and Mike Surant, the owner of MicroLife. And the dude is just super passionate about tree care, and not just tree care, but organic farming and plant care. And he's created some unbelievably cool products that really go a long ways into just creating a healthy growing environment for your trees. So if you see me putting some stuff out there like that, that's why, is because I believe in this. I do sell it. So, you know, I am a little biased, but I really don't make money on it. I mostly just help you guys out. And it actually costs me a little bit sometimes to get that to you, but it's a great product and I believe in it. Like I said, I want to see them grow and thrive way more than they currently are. And like I said, you'll see some more stuff of that later on, but moving on. Yeah, I think you got to maintain that tree a little better. And if you need help, I'm happy to help. Check this out. We do digital arborist consulting. I am a consultant. Like I said, I'm a registered consulting arborist, and we can always get on a Zoom chat, take a little closer look, figure out exactly why those limbs are breaking, and figure out a good game plan moving forward so that you don't have to deal with that as much. So moving on. Susan's asking, I have a red pistache and it is seeping. What can I do? Not sure what is wrong. Well, a couple things. You got the root flares buried. That's not ideal. You got a big old ring right there. That's not ideal. You got to get those root flares exposed. Make sure it's like 45 degrees or more. Make sure your tree's able to breathe in that sense. So that's very, very, very important. Any tree, any shrub, that they have those root flares exposed. Right now, it just looks like a telephone pole sticking out of the ground. That's not good. All right. That's first thing. Oh, yeah. Lucas brings up a good point. There's some water pooling there. I don't know what causes that, but you want to water outside of that. Oh, yeah. Here's a good point. All of that is rock. Now, I don't know where you are. Maybe you're in Arizona or Nevada or something like that where you got desert all around. Let's see. Nope, no idea. Try some mulch. That's going to be way better. I do see like almost a bleeding wound canker. Yeah, it looks like you got a bubbler or something there, Susan. I do see like a bleeding wound here. That typically is going to be a vascular wilt type disease. Cancer researcher by day, an arborist fan by night. I love it, Christine. Yeah, that's great. So she's out there saving people and saving trees. So superhero and environmental specialist all in one good flow there. So love it. Cancer researcher. Thank you for all you do for society, humans and such, and also for trees, because we need trees. Yo, here's a cool fact. So cancer research by day, cancer patient. This is a study out of what? University, Purdue or something like that. Years and years ago, they found that actually cancer patients recur 20% more frequently and about 22% more rapidly when you have a window, just a window, not the whole tree view, just a window with a treed view. So trees are really good for people, y'all. So it's really important that we preserve what we got. So thanks for all you do, Christine. And again, we gave her some microlife just to help her out a little bit. And I actually, the way I met Christine was a year ago. She was purchasing a piece of property, a house, and it had a tree in the backyard. This is right before Hurricane Beryl hit the Houston area. And I said, look, you got this great, brilliant, huge ash tree. That was part of why she bought the house. So she got this gigantinormal, like 40-inch diameter tree in her backyard. And unfortunately, the guys that owned it prior had just lion's tail, just butchered the daylights out of this tree. And it left it structurally compromised. And of course, we put that into a report because that's what I do. And we sent it to the buyer and all that. And she was able, the seller, Christine's the buyer. The seller actually cut the tree down about a week before the Hurricane Beryl hit. So what a mess. But thankfully, there was no house damage, no fence damage, no other surrounding tree damage, because we were able to just show exactly what was going on with that tree and present it to the sellers. So that's something we do. If y'all ever need help with your trees, like I said, we do digital consulting. Think of it like telemedicine for trees. Is essentially we go on and we just do consulting for trees. And there's a lot of guys out there that are consulting arborists. so-called. And what we do is we just help people make good decisions with trees. Now, again, I do hold a registered consulting arborist, that certification right there, wherever it is. There we go. Woo! And there's about 400 of us globally. And like I said, that's exactly what we do, is just help people make good decisions with the trees they love and live under. So we're moving on. Thanks again for all you do, Christine. You're awesome. Karen's asking, my 6-year-old nobility white ash has a cracked trunk and a knot at some branch unions. The foliage looks perfectly healthy. What could have caused the trunk to crack like this? So many things. Probably fungus or borers, some sort of boring insect. Let's see. Oh, no root flares. That's not good. Probably fungus. I would. Oh, shoot. Y'all don't want to look at my ugly mug. There we go. We want to look at Karen's tree. So yeah, you've got the root flares are buried. Let me now you do want to look at my glue mug, because I'm gonna show you exactly what we need to do with this tree. So hold on. My 2-year-old is like really obsessed with taking all of my stuff, y'all. Can you hear me? There you go. What's up, you guys? All right. So if you could see, my 2-year-old is obsessed with the whiteboard. She loves it. But anyways, she's awesome. So anytime you see a tree and it looks like this with the soil right there, it doesn't flare out like it should. That's a very, very bad sign. We do not want that. What we want to see is those gigantinormo root flares coming out. Woo! And woo! So you want your soil level to be right about there. You can even have some grass. I don't care. I'm not a huge fan of grass. Actually, mulch is way better. But even if you've got grass, but you've got those big giant root flares, that's significantly better than if you just got a telephone pole sticking out of the ground. Because what's happening is you're suffocating the tree. No good. You're also causing those roots to want to come up for air. Roots want to be at a place where the air and the water are at the maximum levels, because that's how they eat and breathe. And so whenever they don't, what will happen, those roots will come up for air and they'll start wrapping around the trunk. So I'd be willing to bet money there, Karen. I don't know, but I would be willing to bet that it's been in the ground 6 years, you said. I bet there's some girdling roots on there. So you want to get those root flares exposed, because if those roots are compressing against the trunk tissue, what's happening is that just leaves a perfect, just open playing ground for fungal pathogens, disease, infestation, infection, things like that to come in and wipe out and take over your tree. So don't do that. Get those root flares exposed. I think you've got some sort of bleeding wound canker here. Possibly maybe a borer insect problem. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but yeah, you got to get those root flares exposed. You got to get some oxygen down to the roots. That's very, very important. We're moving on. Christopher's asking, I was walking in a park in Omaha, Nebraska, and noticed this weeping spruce tree, I think that's what it is, with a peculiar branch that appears to have reverted to a normal spruce characteristic. Is this normal? In the pictures of the entire tree, see the lower left of the non-weeping branch. Lower left. Ooh. No, I think what's going on is not well, let's see. Before I start answering preeminently. Yeah, I think you got a stress tree here. What's happening, we call this retrenchment. So retrenchment is a really fancy word that a bunch of tree nuts made up. That essentially what we're finding is these old growth trees, when they get stressed, is they will begin to lower the canopy height. So let me draw a little tree here. Now remember Bob Ross? That dude's like one of my heroes in life. He was such a cool dude. He was actually, Martha Doggett was on PBS. She was the ceramic lady. She was actually a client of mine. Super cool gal. And her son actually was my youth pastor in church. So anyways, we had a great connection there. So let's say you got all these branches coming out of the tree. Well, let's say you get a massive drought that affects every tree in the area for many years on end. Well, what'll happen is it is way easier in this area for the tree to thrive and survive than it is way out on the very upper portions of the canopy. So what will happen is we're finding these trees will actually reduce their canopy height, and then we'll put out massive explosions of growth here in the middle. You probably know it as suckers. That's actually the wrong word. We want to talk about epicormic sprouts. Those are very beneficial. They're actually a survival technique, if you ask me. That's a in case of emergency type of growth. And it doesn't do it on pines. Typically, spruces don't do this as often. But what we're seeing in your picture is we're seeing just that. You've got this awesome growth down in the bottom here, not a lot up top. So I don't think that's a weeping variety of spruce. I think that is a stressed tree there, Christopher. I think that tree is unaliving from the top down, and it's pulling all its resources down to that lower portion of the canopy because gravity does one thing, causes everything to go down. And so it's easier for the water to get up in those lower levels than it is to get way up in the upper canopy. So I think that's what's going on. I could be very wrong. So feel free to send me some more pictures if you notice like some bore holes, things like that. But I just right off the cusp, that's what I think is going on. You've got a really stressed tree. Sounds like it's not even yours, so who cares? But you know, hey, maybe it's worth talking to your neighbor and saying, hey, talk to this idiot tree guy on Asking Arborist, and Arborist on demand. But love to help you out if we can. But yeah, we're moving on. That's my humble 2 cents. Hey, all kids planted an oak twig over 10 years ago. That's awesome. And it grew well until now. Are oak doomed? Is that a full sentence? What is this and can it be treated? It's in New Jersey. You know, New Jersey is awesome. It's called the Garden State for a reason because it's beautiful. Let's see. Let's take a look at this tree. Anonymous. I don't know exactly. That looks like not a red oak. That looks like a pin oak to me. Looks like you got some sort of cambium damage. I'm not sure exactly what caused that, but oh, cool. Got a good mulch ring around it. Hey, found part of your problem here, buddy. Or friend, gal friend, whatever. You've got root flares that are buried. Very, very, very bad. You do have a mulch ring. That's very, very, very good. But those roots need to come out. And again, let's go back to our drawing board here. Oh, my goodness, I make a mess of this stupid whiteboard very quickly, don't I, Lucas? If you got a bean pole sticking out of the ground, you are wrong. What you want to see is you want to see those big root flares coming out, flaring out. You want it at least 45-degree angle. That's that transitionary tissue between trunk tissue and root tissue. It's absolutely critical for a tree to thrive and survive. So make sure you expose those root flares. I'd be willing to bet money. 2, you've got a problem with the where'd it go? Oh, here we go. With the oxygen levels in the soil. You said 10 years ago, right? Let's see. What does it say? Oh, wait. You don't want to look at me. Sorry. Over 10 years ago, and it grew well. It did not grow well. I can tell you that. If it's been in the ground 10 years and it's not, you should get like a foot to 2 feet of growth every year on a new tree like that, especially a pin oak, red oak. They're going to grow 2 feet plus. But when they're stressed, they're not going to do so well. So your root flares are buried. That's got to be exposed. And I think you got some problems in the soil as well. Yeah, I know. I don't care because I'm not paying y'all anymore. Yeah, check us out. By the way, for those of you that don't know, we do have a YouTube channel where I teach this stuff on the daily. I like to, what's that? Yeah, we went up like 101 subscribers to our YouTube channel last week. So we're growing like crazy there too. We've got like 200 or 300 videos that I don't know. I just keep pumping them out because like there's a lot that we need to talk about with trees, guys. Nobody teaches this stuff. So like, why not? It may as well be me. So anyways, hope that helps. I think you got a lot of stuff going on. Check out that video. That may help a lot. I think you got some soil compaction going on. I don't know, but you definitely got to get those root flares exposed. They're anonymous. So hope that helps. Tim's asking, our 2-year-old sycamore trees Rocky Mountain. I'm going to guess that's in like Colorado, maybe. Any idea what's going on? Looks like a maple sycamore. Let's check it out. You got some sort of chewing insect, skeletonizing insect. That could be herbicide damage too. Tim, I'm gonna need some extra pictures because that's just not quite enough. Southern Rhode Island. There we go. Maybe I should read the question before I ask. I tell you, it's in Colorado. Southern Rhode Island. I would suspect herbicide damage or possibly some sort of insect chewing on it. Listen, if that's less than like 20% of your tree that's covered, don't worry about it, man. The birds are going to come. They're going to eat those bugs. The wasps are going to come. They're going to lay their eggs inside of the bugs. I know that's gross, but that's called parasitization. They will literally lay their eggs. I actually watched it happen once. It was so cool. Sorry, I like nature. But we were at a recreational tree climbing event that we put on for Earth Day Dallas. And man, there were like 10,000 Lepidoptera, the eastern tent caterpillars that came in. They're like raining down out of the tree while we're trying to put these poor kids on rope and harness, let a recreational climb a tree. It was pretty cool. But man, I actually got a video of it. Like this was what, 2014, 2015, maybe at the latest. And holy cow, there were just so many of these eastern tent caterpillars or fall webworms. I don't know. I can't remember, honestly. But the wasps literally came in, and we're watching one stick its little abdomen needle inside of the caterpillar and lay its eggs inside of that caterpillar. So we know later on those babies are going to emerge from inside of the caterpillar. It's so gross, but awesome all at once. So I think you got some critters chewing on it. Could be herbicides. So make sure you're not putting any weed and feed or anything stupid like that. But otherwise, man, if it's not covering more than like 10, 20% of your tree, I wouldn't worry about it. Make sure the tree's healthy. Make sure the soil's not compacted. Make sure you're getting fertilization, mostly in the form of aeration, by the way. Trees are essentially made of air, y'all. So hope that helps. Moving on. Lindsay's asking, last week during a bad storm, I heard a very close lightning strike followed by a cracking sound. First, didn't notice anything, but today I checked the other side of the hill beyond my house and found a tall pine tree that appears to have been struck. That sucks. Bark and part of the trunk are peeled back. These pines are very tall, but not wide since they're planted so close together. That's forest growth. They're all looking for sunlight, so they're going to go straight up to compete with the other ones. They were planted so close together. Can a tree with this kind of lightning damage recover, or is it considered a safety risk that should be removed right away? It depends really more on what are the potential consequences. Is that tree going to hit your house? That's what I want to know. Lindsay, if that tree is going to hit your house, I would get rid of it. You do have some horizontal cracking. That was a high energy strike. I could tell because it just blew it apart, opened up some fissures here and on a horizontal level as well. So yeah, I might be careful with that one, honest. Oh, that's gross. Yeah, that's not ideal. That is a structural hazard. What you want to do, here's the thing they don't tell you about lightning strikes. All of the papers, all the research documents say, wait 12 months and see what the tree does. Well, here's the thing. Lightning, not only would it unalive you and I and unalive your tree, it's unaliving all of the beneficial microbes in that area as well. So what you could do is use some humic acid and molasses. And again, I'll give you this one because this is a great product. But yeah, I think maybe give it a shot of this. Spray it as high up as you possibly can. Make sure, Lindsay, you got to make sure that your tree is not going to fall down and come crashing into your house and damage your family or your house or anything like that. And again, if you want a closer look, like hit me up. We can always do a digital arborist consultation. I can look at it a little bit more closely. I think you've got a high risk scenario here. Let's see. Okay, we're good. High risk scenario. I don't know what we're looking at there. You know, that may be far enough away from the house where if a tree falls in the forest, who cares? If it's not going to strike your house, I would say hit it with some humic acid and molasses, see what happens. Wait a year or so. And like I said, if you want a closer look, click that link, schedule a time for me to come out and take a look at it virtually, and let's see what's going on and what we can do to keep it alive and thriving. Hope that helps, Lindsay. We're moving on. Michael's asking, Western North Carolina, Japanese cherry. Cool. First picture is what the leaves look like only 6 weeks ago. Other pictures are within the past week. Seems the tree is some kind of dis-ease. It has lost nearly all of its leaves. I would love to save it, but I realize this tree also made it at the end of its life cycle. Yeah, define that, buddy. Oh, actually, yeah, I think you may be right. Please help with what I may be able to do to save it. All right, first picture, you've got some fungal, and maybe black spot or cytospora, ceterospora rather. You got some fungal issues going on here. Slow down on your watering. That might help. Yeah, oh, wow. That's a lot of fungus. Okay, so the tree may have defoliated on purpose to get rid of some of those fungal pathogens. I don't know. What I do know is your root flares are buried. You got to get those exposed. You got your camper trailer over here. You got your house in the background. So you got some structural issues. You want to check and see if that tree is unalived or alive. To me, it looks like it may be, there's no buds. I don't see any buds. So you may be looking at an unalived tree. What you could do is do the scratch test, scratch the underside of a limb or a lot of limbs if you can reach them with your thumbnail or fingernail. Oh, that's sweet. I just got a new review, you guys. Let's read it. You want to read it together? This is on my QuickBooks account. I wish I had. All right, let's view it. This is fun. I'm getting a review right now. We're going to go through this because like this is a local that we were able to help keep her trees thriving. This is a really cool scenario. After Hurricane Beryl, we had a bunch of limbs and trees and such break, and it was unfortunate because we lost some really good trees, and I don't think it had to happen. I think some of those could have been preserved if we did just a few things preemptively to make sure the trees thrived and survived. But Lynn is just a sweet lady, right in the heart of Houston. She's got a historic tree, and what on earth is going on? And we were able to actually come up with some creative solutions. Matt provided expert knowledge and recommendations, and he and his team did a great job. Our trees look so much better, and we're glad they're healthier too. Highly recommend Arborist on Demand. Right there. Love it. Thank you so much, Lynn. Yeah, that was a cool case scenario. We were able to come in and do some creative problem solving to make sure she got to keep the tree. All the other guys were like, nah, you got to get rid of it. It's like, okay, but do we really? What if we were to do some things to make sure it's structurally sound and can thrive health-wise and keep it growing and thriving? So anyways, sorry, Michael, I got distracted there, buddy. Yeah, this is one of those, we're going to have to take a closer look really to determine if this tree is alive or unalived and see what we could do, man. But I'm not seeing great signs. It may be worth it to get on a digital arborist consultation. I'd love to help if we can, but we're moving on for now. Anonymous asking, join this group specifically for this. Is this a maple tree? And was it there? It was not there last summer. Should I leave it? Will the roots ruin our foundation? This is the side of our house. Help. Thanks, New York. Yes, it's a maple. Maples do really, really well in New York. Sorry, guys. I'm like, my eyes are going dry with all this fan going in my face. That's a maple of some sort. Honestly, I might move that a little bit, maybe like 5 feet out away from the house. But realistically, trees do a wonderful job of adapting and growing around their environment. So I'm not too concerned with trees that grow up around a house. If a tree was there before the house was planted, if the tree was planted before the house was planted, you might want to look into some maybe root pruning and things like that to get it to grow around the house. But if it was there, what's that, Lucas? Yeah, you got some gutter work there. You got electrical line there. Yeah, I'd move it if I were you, Anonymous. Lucas brings up a really good point. That electrical meter there, the downspout there, looks like it grew like 5 feet in a year too, like not good. So yeah, I would move it personally or get rid of it entirely before it's an issue. Yeah, I mean, technically it's going to grow around the house. You don't have to worry about that too much, but because of that electrical meter and the downspout, I'd get rid of it, honestly. All right, moving on. Carol's asking, I don't know where you're from, Carol. My weeping cherry has this hard sap all over the trunk. Any idea what's going on? I think it's borers. Leaking sap isn't often a problem. Sometimes an animal or a bug made a hole, but the sap usually traps the harmful bug. Alex is right. Yep, Alex is right. Well done, Alex. Keep on keeping on. What about a young nectarine tree with a gel-like gum and hollow area under the bark? Same, Crystal. Lucas, go ahead and tag Crystal in there too. Absolutely the same. Yeah, typically. So sap, bleeding wounds like that. If y'all remember back to like Jurassic Park back in the 90s, I think it was, we learned that mosquitoes get trapped in sap. Well, so do the borers. In fact, with pine bark beetles, one of the things we look for to determine whether or not the tree has pine bark beetles, we look for what we call pitch tubes. Now, that's a fancy way of saying it bled. It done bled out. And that's exactly what it's doing. It's trying to push those critters outside with that sticky sap. And they're not, you and I, we just rub it off our fingers, go wash up or whatever, put some turpentine, some gasoline on there and get rid of that sap. Critters don't have that ability. So they get trapped in there and they unalive very quickly. So that is a defense mechanism. You got something eating at your tree, Carol, and you got to figure out what it is and how to take care of it. So like I said, I'd love to hop on a digital arborist consultation with you and maybe figure this out a little closer. But one thing you can do too is neem oil. Neem oil is a great insecticide. Also, check the root flares. Make sure you don't have a stressed tree and the tree's healthy, thriving, and growing the way it should. So hope that helps. We're moving on. Ben's asking, noticed yesterday these 2 large red oaks were turning brown already. Central North Carolina on property where we cut timber and had grading done last year in preparation for building a house. We saved approximately 35 to 40 large trees for the landscape, almost all white and red oak. Oh, that stinks. I'm guessing these are unaliving from potential root damage and or stress from the logging and grading that was done, but wanted to be sure before removal. Oh my goodness, Ben. Oh my goodness, you got such a huge problem. So whenever I come onto a job site where you've got construction going on, I know those guys do not care about your tree. They care about getting the job done. So realistically, you have raised that terrain. I don't even know how much, man. You've raised that terrain maybe like 4, 5, 10 feet. I don't even know. Yeah, you got to give me some better pictures, first of all. But second of all, I think all those ones right on the perimeter, they're not going to do well, man. They're not going to do well. This is one of those, when you have a construction project that you're working on, whether it's a new home, an existing home that you're working around, et cetera, in Bears Oh My, you want to make sure to get a well-qualified arborist. Now, I'm working on a project in Louisiana right now where she reached out to us before the construction went on. And we actually moved the whole house about 3 feet over to make sure that we could preserve the trees. And so this is one of those, like that grading, that logging that happened. My goodness, I don't even know how much damage they did. But bro, we gotta get on an arborist consultation. We gotta get some sort of an idea of what's going on and how to fix it. Because oh my goodness. Yeah, what on earth are they doing here? That's a big old mulch volcano, Ben. These guys have no idea what they're doing. They just sprayed and prayed, and man, you got a mess. So hit us up, man. Click that button on that website link I linked to you. Let's get on a digital arborist consultation, figure out what we need to do moving forward, because I think you got a big project ahead of you. I think they did damage there. You're not going to see for 3 to 5 years. Some of it you're seeing right now. Some of this we're going to have to wait a few years before we actually see the real damage done. So, man, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, Ben, but I think you got a big mess in front of you, and we're going to have to do everything we can to minimize the damage. So we're moving on. David's asking, I have a very mature oak unalive off on me suddenly last fall 2024. The leaves turned brown very early and did not recover this spring. I had pruning done in the winter of 2023 by a top respectable firm. I have my doubts. And suspect no stress or disease was introduced. Y'all know that we call them pruning wounds. We're literally wounding the tree. Hold on 1 second here. I gotta show you something. If I can find the freaking book. This guy right here, Doctor, that's PhD, y'all. Dr. Alex Shigo. We consider him the father of modern arboriculture. And he's got a quote that I love. He says, pruning is one of the worst things you can do to a tree and one of the best things you can do for a tree. So every time I prune or I have my guys prune or whatever, I know I'm introducing stress into the tree. Now, we don't prune trees that are stressed out, y'all. We prune deadwood only. Excuse me. Sorry, Facebook algorithms. We prune unalived wood only on a stressed tree. So, yeah, rotten, decayed wood, things like that. We got to get rid of it if it's a structural concern. So, I had pruning done in the winter of 23 by a top respectable firm, and suspect no stress or disease was introduced. I'm sorry. Don't care how professional or respectable they are. They stress the tree. That's what pruning does. That's just biology, y'all. The growth was good that summer, but there was a sudden unalive off in August 2024. August is the hottest month of the year, too. So, where you at, David? What's up, Canada? Great to see you here, buddy. Yeah, so fortunately, you've got very, very mild winters and summers, or very mild summers. Pretty wicked winters, I think. Humble opinion. I know y'all are like, no, this is just normal, y'all. But I've just had a removal service out, and while he had not suspected it closely, his opinion was maybe oak borer beetles. That's a blanket term. That's not a specific epithet. Regardless, what is very surprising is the new growth that did appear at the base since the spring. Removal service owner, 25 plus years of business, had never seen that before with a unalive tree. Wow. He doesn't have good experience. I'm sorry. I see that all the time. Picture below shows you how much has come up already this year. My final question, is this normal? Yes, it is. This is normal. This is the tree saying, holy cow, something happened and I'm really stressed out. Now I got to put off new growth. So my final question, is this normal? Yep. Is it worth trying to see how that comes up over the next few years, and how one would care for that, prune or encourage growth? Or should I just have the stump removed after the tree is done and be done with it? Might get another arborist to come inspect. Location, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Hey, y'all, I want to tell you something I know about Canada. I know this because I got a really good friend of mine that's up there in the maritime areas. And I also got some other contacts that I have in Toronto, Ontario, and British Columbia. And good friends of mine that I know that we talk in the tree care industry, and we have these conversations. And quite frankly, Canadians think that tree care is urban forestry or forestry. I'm sorry. I said it. I know like maybe 5 guys that are registered consulting arborists and it's the American Society of Consulting Arborists. That's like North America is what we consider. Canada, y'all are our neighbors here in Houston even. Y'all are North America. And so it's the American Society of Consulting Arborists. I know like 5 guys in all of Canada. Canada is huge. If y'all haven't looked on a map, it's like bigger than America, the United States of America anyway. So we need some better arborists in Canada, y'all. We don't need any more foresters. We've got plenty of foresters in Canada. We need some top-notch professional arborists. So if y'all are an arborist, actually, there's a guy, Gene Bassler, who was here in Houston area. He worked for Bartlett for many, many years, and he taught the industry, and he moved up to Canada. So way to go. I got another friend of mine, Dan. He was the Centerpoint guy. He was the vegetation management guy. He's up in maritime areas. Top-notch arborist. And, y'all, we need more arborists in Canada. So I'm sorry, but I have serious doubts as to whether these guys know what the heck they're talking about. Because that is what we call epicormic sprouts or root suckers, actually. And that is a sure sign that your tree is incredibly stressed. I don't know if it was the pruning or something that happened before. I don't know if it's borers. It could be a whole host of things that's causing that stress, but you got an unalive tree, buddy. Whatever happened, and it looks like there's power lines even involved. So whatever happened, That tree, I see a little bit of green there, but I'm really sorry, David. I think that's a lost cause. Now, when you cut the tree down, when you remove the tree, by all means, feel free to leave those little epicormic sprouts, those little sucker growth, because that may be the only life left in that tree. And if you have a fully developed root system, that's the only tree portion of the tree above ground that's left. My goodness, that is that those little sprouts, those little suckers have a whole root system to take advantage of, and they're going to grow and thrive. And by all means, leave them, let them grow into a new tree. Why not? May as well. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, David, but I think that is oh, what's up? You got what was it, Harvey Birdman or whatever? I remember that cartoon back in the good old days. Anyways, we're moving on, David. Sorry, buddy. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but yeah, you got a mess on your hands there. Yeah, feel free to leave those sprouts. Let them grow. Karen's asking why a live oak tree is creating a bunch of long branches combining off of the branches on the tree. Looks weird. I did cut some off on one side recently. It's like there are several shoots growing from individual limbs. I've never seen this before. It looks like the tree needs a haircut. Yeah, it does. At least this tree and most of my new neighbors were planted in 2019. At least mine were. Now I'm seeing a lot of these oak trees doing this in my community. I live on the west side of San Antonio. So you got terrible soil. I know San Antonio. What can you tell me about this and what to do? I also know newly planted houses. That's an extremely stressed tree that is trying to put off. Oh, Karen, you got some herbicide damage, sweetie. That's not good. You got some herbicide damage. That's wow. That is, the tree is just really trying. So yeah, get rid of those root flares, or excuse me, the dirt on the root flares. Trim the stuff at the base and give this thing a nice mulching. It's almost as if the tree is trying to shade the ground to reduce heat. Yeah. I think Michael's got it spot on here. I don't do the mulch volcano thing. When I do it, awesome. Good. Very good. Yeah, I would say vertical mulching would be a really great. That's a good point, Lucas. Vertical mulching and radial trenching is going to be your best friends here. You got a really stressed tree. San Antonio, I know pretty well. You got this more sandy soil. It almost looks like herbicide damage too, combined with, wow, that tree's just really stressed out and trying to put out as much green tissue out there as it possibly can. It's epicormic growth. The tree's trying to replace what was cut. Yep. Maybe not even so much what was cut that I could reach once on the side of the driveway. I haven't trimmed the tree. Yeah, sometimes that's just a stress growth. When you cut, you stimulate growth. That's true. I don't think that's the whole story, though, Jeremy. Tree response to stress, i.e. being cut, is to try and replace and fill in. The tree is extremely stressed, though. I agree. Christine's got it spot on. Well done. That's why you get the microlife today. So, that was great seeing you. Thanks again for all that you contribute to this group. I thought about how this drought is affecting it too. Good. Yeah, think about those things, Karen. Very important. I'm going to move the plants around the trunk and then condition that soil and put mulch there. Let me give you a great product there, Karen. This is going to help tremendously. That's a joke. There's a tree pun in there somewhere. You want to get some of this stuff, and you also want to get some of, not this stuff. Wow, why do I have two of those up? That's ridiculous. Some of this stuff. This is what you want. This is the good stuff. This is like tree steroids in a bottle. Let's hit the enter on that one. Yeah. So you want some oxygen out of the soil. Both of those products are going to increase the oxygen levels in the soil. Did I do that or not? I didn't see it there. Let's hit that there. Cool. Yeah. So hit those products. Check out the YouTube site. By the way, for y'all that don't know, we do a YouTube channel here where we teach this stuff all day, every day. How can I tell? Clarify, Christine. How can I tell? I don't remember what I said, honestly. I'm saying a lot of things right now. I see a stressed tree, and it sounds like it's a newly planted tree. So use that microlife, the Ocean Harvest. That's really good stuff. That's going to help improve the herbicide damage, the misshapen tiny leaves, and also if you look at the grass around it, I don't see a lot of weeds. I see a cut limb there, and I see really well maintained, well manicured grass around it. So, and then the misshapen leaves, that's very, very common that's an herbicide damage issue. So yeah, that looks like live oak to me still. Down there at live oak, you got really, really nice, but it also looks like it's chemical fertilizer maybe, because I see this all the time. Actually, it's funny. My neighbors are all their grasses are burning up right now. It's like, y'all stop fertilizing. Instead, start probioticizing or whatever. Give the tree some biostimulant. So humic acid, molasses, fulvic acid, seaweed extract, fish emulsion, rock phosphates, et cetera, and berezomai. Blood meal is actually a great nitrogen source. The yellowing of the leaves, that's true. Lucas, that's a great point. Yeah, you've got discoloration. You've got misshapen live oak leaves. Live oak leaves should look like, I don't know, live oak leaves. They shouldn't look like those tiny little laurel oak leaves. That's wrong. And also, sometimes the tree will put out excessive growth in response to herbicide damage. Sometimes, not always. It's kind of rare, honestly. But yeah, I see some really misshapen leaves, and that is a sure sign of a combination of most likely herbicide damage and maybe an anaerobic condition in the soil. So find out what kind of soil you have too. It may be like a clay soil that they put at the top dressing to install the sod on. Sometimes they'll take, okay, so here's something you need to know. Sod farms are not local. The guys that bring in the sod for your newly built house, typically they're bringing it in from East Texas or West Texas or somewhere where you've got a different soil than you do here or where you are. You're in San Antonio. So a lot of times they're bringing it in from East Texas or South Texas where you've got these clay soils. And sometimes you'll have clay on top, sand down below. Well, that messes everything up, y'all, because water wants to go from high pressure to low pressure. And so it's going to allow that water to sink down and drain. Also, the clay's going to want to lock onto it. So it's going to push up and prevent that water from getting into the lower levels. So that may be a rooting issue as well. You may have some anaerobic conditions in the soil. So hope that helps, Karen. We are moving on. Let me know if I can help. Anonymous is asking, I noticed this on my red maple tree a number of years ago, 5 or 6, and it's been getting bigger every year. Should I be concerned? Yes. Looks like a really bad pruning wound years and years ago. That is not compartmentalizing well. What you want to do, I put a video out on how to test your woody tissue. Excuse me. What you want to do is you want to get a wooden mallet, or not a wooden mallet, but a rawhide mallet. You can find them on Amazon, or a rubber mallet. But that's going to be really, really beneficial because what you want to do is you want to tap all around that. Check this video out. And, of course, subscribe while you're at it. May as well while you're there, and check and see that. But here's another couple great products, too, that I love. Now, my wife brought up a really good point. She's like, you're talking about all this microlife stuff. And, like, people are looking at it, and they're going to go to Home Depot to buy something comparable. Well, here's the problem with that. The reason I recommend microlife, and yes, I sell it. Yes, I make about $5 per bottle that I sell. I'm not making money on that. That's going to maybe pay for my coffee in the morning. Maybe. Like, I don't care about the money. What I need to do is, so the reason I push this product is I know the owner. Microlife, when I came to Houston, I discovered them actually through another tree care company. And I looked at their product. I talked to the owner, and I found out exactly where they pull the ingredients from and how they manufacture it. And it turns out it really is the best product that I've ever seen. 22 years doing tree care. And so that's why I push microlife, not because I make money on it. I make pennies. Like, it's embarrassing how little I make on this when I sell a bottle of microlife. What I do this for is because I want you guys to have a really, 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 really good high quality product that's going to take care of the problem. I don't want you to take a look at this and say, well, maybe I can find something comparable at Home Depot and then go there or go to Amazon or whatever, because a lot of that's coming from China. A lot of it's coming from very, very poor sources. And so, like I said, I believe in this stuff. Not because I make money on it. I make very little money on selling microlife products. I do it so that you guys can actually. Hey, what's up? What's up, Amanda Booberry? Yay, I made a live. My favorite resource on the interwebs. Hey, I'm very glad to be your favorite resource on the interwebs. Thanks for joining us, Amanda. That's awesome. You just made my evening. But anyways, going back, I love MicroLife because it really is the best product that I've found. Mike Sarant, the owner, is a savant when it comes, not an idiot. He's brilliant, but he's a savant when it comes to organic tree care and plant care. And that's why I push this stuff, because it's awesome. So don't look at this and then be like, well, maybe I can find something better and cheaper. Yes, it's a little more expensive than the competition. I think it's $52 for that bottle. That's all bacteria, though. That's essentially, oh yes, oh man, check this out. So this is Christine. I've been using MicroLife for a year, that and compost, and it basically exploded the trees in the front yard. It's funny, I stopped by Christine's house because she's been such a great contributor to this channel, and she happens to be my neighbor. I actually met her because she was buying a house and she needed help getting a report written up on the trees there. And she's been such a great contributor. Like Lucas was like, man, we need to get her some MicroLife. I was like, Lucas, you're right. So I stopped by today and gave her some just kind of, hey, thank you type MicroLife. And she's saying it's basically exploded the trees in the front yard. That is true. I wish I took pictures. But her trees before she bought the property were lion's tailed to oblivion. And man, all that new growth in the middle, Christine, we're on the right track there. So I was really pleased to see that. They're so green, and my tree grass also weirdly exploded too. That's the funny thing, isn't it? It's the whole ecosystem. Your yard, your trees, your landscape is this whole big ecosystem. And when you do it right, everything's going to thrive. Your trees, your grass, your landscape plants, and unfortunately, sometimes your weeds too. But that's okay. Weeds are just a part of a balanced nutrition, if you will. Weeds are actually the good guys, despite popular belief. They're not a plant out of place. Typically, they're mechanics of the soil. So let's see. Anonymous, go ahead and buy that stuff and spray that on there. And you want to get this stuff too. You want to mix it about 50-50. That's going to be really, really important, because those bacteria that are in that MicroLife micro-grow liquid AF, they're actually going to need to eat. So by adding the soil and plant energy, that soil energy, that's part of that. By the way, there's a lot. Okay, so this is really cool stuff. Let's get into some science real quick. So this is just a list of some of the bacteria that are in MicroLife liquid, micro-grow liquid AF. And essentially, so there's two, if you notice here, there's two strains of trichoderma. Trichoderma is the most studied bacteria when it comes to antifungal properties. And what they do, they're heterotrophic. They actually eat fungus. So going back to Anonymous's post here, you got some fungal pathogens that are attacking that tree. Now, I think it started from a wound, just like above. You pruned a limb, or somebody pruned a limb. Fungal pathogens got in. It sounds like it's going on 5 or 6 years. It's been getting bigger every year. Should you be concerned? A little. Not so much because you've got some discoloration, but more so because inside of that, underneath all of that discoloration, you've got a whole ecosystem growing. Now, think of when you see the fruiting mushroom. Let's say it's Ganoderma. Ganoderma's let's take a look at it here. Ganoderma is the most identifiable, in my humble opinion. Ganoderma, if I can type words and stuff, is the easiest to identify of all the plant pathogens, because it's just really bright and bold. It's beautiful, honest, humble opinion. But Ganoderma, if you see that is the fruiting spore. That is the fruiting body of the plant. And not the fruiting spore, it's the fruiting body. So if you think of that, like you've got a rose bush, and a rose bush has a flower on it. Now that flower is the tip of the iceberg. You've got needles, you've got leaves, you've got branches, you've got stems, you've got trunk, and you've got roots, all different types of roots. You've got a whole plant beyond that. So whenever you see fungus, if it's a mushroom, or if it's a bleeding wound canker, or if it's some sort of like underneath the bark, you've got some spots on there. What you're seeing, that's not, I get people like, should I remove it? Well, you can, but it's not going to do much. That's just the bare minute. That's the tip of the iceberg, you guys. So critical to actually improve the health of the tree so that it can do what it's doing. And actually, one of those functions that a tree does is it compartmentalizes fungal pathogens. So getting back to Anonymous is here. And I know, like, I wish you would post not anonymously because that way I can talk to you in person. But what you're seeing here, that's the tip of the iceberg. You got a whole ecosystem going on underneath that. So what you want to do is you want to make sure the tree's healthy. You want to suppress the fungal pathogens with those products, and you want to just make sure everything is working as it should within the tree. That is so critical. Compaction is a big part of fungal pathogens, I believe. We're moving on. Scott's asking, I have concolor. I don't know what that is. That is struggling. It's growing nice green needles, but they soon turn brown at the top half of each needle. I've had an arborist tell me it's getting too much water, and others say it's not getting enough water. Those are very conflicting stories. There's no sign of insect or disease apart from the yelling at the tips of the needles. The tree next to it is very healthy and thriving in the Denver area. I don't know what a concolor is. Maybe, what is that, a Japanese yew? What's up, Lucas? Screwdriver test. Great point. Lucas brought up a great point. Yeah. You got two arborists that one of them doesn't know what they're talking about. So here's how you tell. All right. So what we can do, you want to take a screwdriver, you want to jam it into the soil, maybe like once a day for a week or two. And you want to check and see, is the tree getting too much or is it not getting enough? Make sure that screwdriver is about 6 to 8 inches long or more. And you're going to be able to tell a lot, because if it's hard to push down, that means you got some soil compaction. If it's easy to push down, that's a great sign. If it's easy to get pushed down, but you bring it up and it's got mud on it, that's a bad sign. That means you've got like a compacted, or not a compacted, but an oversaturated soil. So do that screwdriver test and get back with me, man. If you can video it, great. Drop me a link down below. Make sure to tag me in it. I'm Matt Latham. That's not the mat you walk on. I think that's what I used to say, right? But yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but yes, I think one of the two is going on. You got too much or too little water. I don't see fungus. I see really stressed tree. Now in Colorado, it could be a really sandy soil, so that may be that it's really dry and hot. I don't know, but tell me a little bit more. Tell me about your watering schedule, Scott. Tell me about your that screwdriver test and let me know how it goes. And if you can provide like a video while you're doing it, that'd be amazing. So hit me up. And again, as always, if you want to do a digital arborist consultation, I would be happy to jump on a Zoom chat with you. Click that link, click one of the buttons there, and make sure to schedule it at a time that works best for you. And we'll get on there and find out exactly what's going on. So hope it helps. Moving on. Andrew's asking, what do I do? Come on now. I don't need that. Come on. Here we go. Andrew's asking, what's up, Lucas? Hold on, I'm getting a buzz. No, I'm not. Never mind. All right. Andrew's asking, any help with what's going on? What is eating this willow? I don't see any sign of beetles. How can I treat this? Beetles are not the only problem out there, my friend. Andrew, you've got some vines that are stressing that tree out. I also don't believe it's a weeping willow. I think that's a weeping cherry. I could be wrong. What's that? Yeah, that's a weeping cherry, man. That's not a weeping willow. I know weeping willows very well. And that's not a weeping willow. That's a weeping cherry. Yes, you got some caterpillars or some beetles that are chewing the daylights out of those leaves. And that's not great, but that's not the big issue. The big issue is you got a stressed tree. You got a bunch of these bricks around here. Probably doesn't have a great rooting zone. You've got all these vines crawling up and stressing it out, choking it out. Here's what you want to do. Let me get back to the drawing board because it's one of my favorite things to draw on this planet. Win, and I'm assuming, Andrew, you're going to do this, buddy. You got to help me out here, man. I'm spending some time on you here, so let's work on this together. So if you find, when you get rid of all those vines that are crawling up, if you find the tree looks like this, you are wrong. You got to get rid of all that dirt and soil, compacted mulch and things like that. You want it to look like this. You want those root flares to come out nice and big, and that's going to be a great way for your tree to breathe. The other thing I want you to do is drill. You want to drill some holes. Actually, you want to drill like 2-inch wide. Like get a drill bit if you got a drill. Plug it in there. You can go on Amazon. You can find what's called an earth auger bit. And you're going to drill holes every 1.5 to 2 feet in a stair step pattern, right? So What that's going to do, you don't have a lot of room here, so stay a little bit away from the trunk, but also make sure that you've got plenty of room, plenty of holes in there to make sure oxygen gets down there. And then you want to backfill with a high quality compost or mulch. One of my favorite ones, because it's really easy to get and readily available, is Black Cow compost. And you can find it at Home Depot. It's everywhere. It's in a little yellow bag. I used to do that, and I'd like watch these trees light up like a Christmas tree, y'all. This was when I'm first learning trees, learning how oxygen affects them and soil compaction, things like that. I just drill some holes because somebody else did it, and I saw trees light up like a Christmas tree. So I just imitated it. It turns out the reason being is because roots need to breathe just like you and I need to breathe at all times. The difference is trees are helpless. They're standing there their whole life. And so when you do that, you're actually just relieving a lot of that stress and allowing them to breathe again. So I think that's the big issue going on. You got a limited soil volume. You've got a tree that's stressed from vines. I don't think you've got a weeping willow. I think you've got a weeping cherry. So hope that helps, buddy. Moving on. All right. Anonymous asking, I planted a Mexican sycamore almost 3 years ago. I'm seeing some browning of the leaves and leaves falling off the tree. Similar trees in my neighborhood seem to be doing the same thing. Just heat stress or something else. Well, you probably got a builder grade. Ooh, Black Cow versus mushroom compost. Yes, the reason, Christine, that's a great question. So let's go back to compost a little bit. I love a good mushroom compost. That's like the primo grade, the best. There's my finger. There we go. The primo stuff. The reason I say Black Cow is because it's really, really easy to come by. Any Home Depot is going to sell it. Very easy to get. But yes, absolutely. The mushroom compost is actually going to be better, humble opinion, or you can do like a peat compost because that's going to be a high organic matter versus the Black Cow. The reason I say Black Cow, like I said, it's just easy to get. Everybody in this entire country can get Black Cow compost. Unfortunately, you and I live in a place where we got Nature's Way and Landscaper's Pride, and those are amazing products, but not everybody can get a hold of that. So yes, thoughts on different types of compost. I love a peat compost and I love a leaf mold compost, or i.e. a mushroom compost. These are going to be very, very, very finely graded compost that will add a ton of organic matter and a ton of bacteria and beneficial fungal not pathogens, but endo and ectomycorrhizal fungus. And they're going to have, like I said, a great supply of nitrogen and compost and organic matter and all the good things trees need. If you think of a forest, you got 6 to 12 inches of organic matter. That's what you want to recreate. Unfortunately, we all have this stupid turf grass that we see around our trees, just like this. But that's okay, because you can artificially recreate that organic forested type scenario. So, okay, back to your question though. Yeah, that's a stressed tree. It sounds like maybe you've got a lot of similar trees in the area. So maybe it's a newer neighborhood that everybody planted the same tree or on the same time, give or take. What I would do is you've got this. This is awesome. You want to do this vertical, this radial trenching and allow some extra oxygen in there. And then you also want to do vertical mulching. Now, guys, I'm so sorry. I got to do a vertical mulching video. Let's see if I can find it here. Vertical. Yes. Okay, here's a great one. So check this video out too. It's not an instructional video so much as the other one is, but it does give you a good example. Basically, I'm just out there drilling holes. I had this random guy. I was just on a job helping some clients out. And this guy comes up with a drone and he gets some great video footage of me. He's like, just randomly. He's like, what are you doing? That was cool. I put my drone out there to check it out and see. And so we got this awesome video. But anyways, check that out and see maybe if that's a good solution for you, because I think it might be actually. That might get some extra oxygen down there. And then, of course, do the radial trenching, which you'll find in this first link. And that's going to be a great way to get some extra oxygen in there. Here's the thing, though. Mexican sycamores, so what do they call it? Dideciduous. They're just making up terms. This is a fellow tree guy that I know.
He's like bideciduous. That's what he called it. Is essentially when a tree gets stressed out during the summer, sometimes it will defoliate early. That is actually a normal and natural process. What the tree's doing is it's saying, I don't have enough water. As the leaves respire, they're giving off these gases and water vapors. And what that does is it dries it out. So as a way to stop the bleeding, if you will, they will actually defoliate the tree. And this is going to stop the tree from losing moisture. It does some things to stress it out, but it's a great way to stop the bleeding immediately and get the tree course corrected and back on track. So if you live in a particularly hot and dry area, it may be beneficial to give it a little extra drink during the summer, especially on those sycamores, things like that. Red oaks, things with a wider leaf are going to have more surface area for the leaves to off gas and pull. That's, by the way, what they're doing when they're off gassing like that, when they're respiring is what we call it. It's sort of like you and I respirate, is that's creating a negative pressure. That negative pressure inside of the trunk is actually pulling moisture from the soil up the rest of it. So whenever a tree gets super dry, like magnolias have a bad habit of this. And we had a drought a couple of years ago here in Houston, and we noticed a lot of the magnolias were the ones that were unaliving. And what's happening, we call it permanent wilting. Whenever they're off gassing so much and there's nothing to replace it within the soil, they'll actually just unalive completely. So watch out for that. But I think that's probably what's going on here is the tree is just going into survival mode. It's trying to protect itself by defoliating, by getting rid of that ability to off gas and lose water vapor and moisture. So not a huge deal. A lot of trees do that. Like I said, red oaks will do that sometimes. Sycamores will do that. I've even seen bald cypress do that, willows, things like that. So totally normal. Also, it means you got a slightly stressed tree. Oh, and one other thing, make sure to get that mulch around away from the trunk of the tree. Make sure to pull it off, and you want those big giant root flares to come out. About 1.5 to 2 times the trunk diameter. So moving on, I had to dig a ditch for a new water line and hit a bunch of roots of an old hickory. They are beyond the branches. What do I need to do to save it? Actually, you're probably fine. When it's beyond the branches, that's beyond the drip line. What's up, Lucas? Ooh, look at that. Oh, way to go, Anonymous. You're awesome. That's perfect. That's what we need to see, honestly. We need to see these good pictures. Those are all small, absorbing, microscopic roots, some of them. I think you're okay. Yeah, if it's beyond the drip line, oh, man, this is great. Well done. Well done, Anonymous. I don't even know your name, but well done. Keep that up. Whenever y'all send pictures, it is so beneficial to actually make sure that we get a really good set of photos. So whenever you're asking questions, rather, those photos go a long ways. By the way, for those of you that don't know, I run a company called arboristonDemand.com, and we do telemedicine for trees. And that's exactly what we do is we look at pictures, we get on a digital arborist consultation, and we'll go through and we'll just get on the phone with you. We'll say, hey, what's going on here, guys? Oops, that's what I need. Click the button. And so hit us up on the web at arboristonDemand.com if you need help with your trees and want to take a closer look. But essentially, we're just going above and beyond what we're doing right now. We're taking a look at these pictures, these great pictures y'all are posting, and we're trying to figure out what's the diagnosis and how do we do to get it in a good place. So like I said, hit us up on the web at arboristonDemand.com. You can just click on any of these buttons will lead you right to us. You can schedule a time with me at your convenience, and we'll get on the phone and figure out exactly what's going on with your trees and see what we need to do to get them in the good place. So I know trees are very important to you guys. That's why you're here. That's why you're asking these questions, is because you love your trees and you want to make sure that they're healthy and thriving. So we're moving on. Chris is asking, from my research, it seems the branch union, come on, y'all. We don't talk about crotches here. That's dirty. May cause problems as the tree grows. Should I cut the street stride, narrow a trunk now? It's an October glory maple. Yeah, what I would do, and I think we had a good conversation. Was this one we had a good conversation with? Yeah. I think it was. Yeah. Okay, bingo. You want to do this in pruning cycles, Chris Lyle? I didn't tag you in that. Hopefully you got the message. Yeah, so whenever you're making major cuts, you don't want to do anything big very rapidly. That can actually put your tree into a spiral of decline. We call it the mortality spiral. But you got a problem here, Chris. you got a branch union that is a very weak branch union. You can see that branch bark ridge and that included bark there. This is like not a big deal now, but fast forward. I'll answer your question here in just a second, Christine. Fast forward 20 years down the road, that is going to be a big problem. And you get a big storm or big hurricane or big tornado or whatever, or even just some straight line winds. And there's a very great potential for that limb to rip off and come crashing down. Hopefully you don't park your car or your neighbors don't park their cars in the street right under it. But yes, you want to get rid of it, but not a straight away. And what I was describing before is you want to do this in pruning cycles. And what we mean by that is you want to do a little bit now, a little bit later, and maybe a lot of it later. And so what that does is it allows the tree to catch up. It allows the tree to adjust its strategy. So a tree is going to grow based on what it needs. And so let's just take a little closer look at this here. So right now you got two major limbs, one primary here, and it's an October glory maple. So they're not the longest lived. They're not the strongest trees, but they sure are beautiful in the fall time. And I love October glories. They're a beautiful, beautiful tree. So what Chris is saying is he's got this one limb here. You got a weak attachment point, very structurally unsound branch union. And he called it a crotch. We don't talk about crotches here. That's weird, y'all, especially for you ladies. We don't talk about crotches. Just don't go there. Branch union, you got a weak one here. So what I would do is I would start reducing the height of this branch right here. What that's going to do is that's going to allow this main upper limb to start filling in the gap, and it'll start pushing growth over and beyond that tree. Now, you may be able to leave that limb, that weak limb, for the life of the tree, but eventually, humble opinion, I think it would be better to get rid of it eventually. Now, that may take 4 or 5 years before you really get to a point of being able to remove the whole thing. And so, yeah, just keep in mind, this may be an ongoing maintenance thing, but a little bit now, a little bit next year, a little bit next year, and a little bit next year. And eventually you can come in and make that final cut right near the branch union, right near that trunk of the other one, and you'll have very, very minimal damage. So while it's a young tree like this, humble opinion, there was kind of an ongoing debate between Michael and I about whether we should take the limb completely or just leave it and reduce the daylights out of that and let the other one be the primary. Yes is the answer. There's no right answer. These are living, breathing, eating organisms. Humble opinion, I think it's better to get rid of it and start establishing the permanent structure now. Honestly, it would have been better 3 years ago. But you can get rid of it, you can leave it, and just continue to reduce that smaller of the two over time and keep it reduced and make sure that it doesn't take over dominantly, become the primary dominant, because they will compete for dominance like that. Those limbs are reaching out to get the maximum benefit from the sunlight, and et cetera, et cetera. So, I think, yes, I think you can go either route with that. Humble opinion, if it were mine, money were not an object, knowing what I know now, I would probably try to get rid of it completely and just make sure that the tree's healthy and thriving. Don't do it if it starts looking stressed. Maybe hold off a year or two. So anyways, hope that helps, Chris. We are moving on. Southern Wisconsin, July 15th, it started to turn brown. Now it's all brown as of July 25th. What could have happened to this thing? It was absolutely thriving earlier this spring, and the other white pine 15 feet away from it is still doing great. How do I tell what went wrong? Oh my goodness, we're going late, huh? Yeah, hour and 37. How do I tell what went wrong? Is it worth trying to save it all? Edit, I added more photos. No, your tree is unalived completely. Guys, whenever a coniferous, yes, comment questions on here. Yes, please. Use, please. Use, please. That's a good tree pun on accident. Hey, I'm sorry, Christine. Let me get back to your question too. Black splotches on it wounds. Okay, let's go back to the earlier one. Is the drip line the diameter of the branches? Yes, the drip line. Let's do this. Let's go over some basics right quick. This is really important. Whenever we talk about drip line, what we're talking about is actually right where the canopy edge is. So where's that? Black, that's purple marker. I need a black marker. There we go. So you got a tree
There's stupid, ugly tree. Woo! There it is. So the drip line is draw an imaginary line at the very edge of the canopy, and that is your drip line. So whenever we talk about that, that is exactly what we are talking about. And then are those black splotches on it wounds? Yes and no. No, that is pruning paint, actually. So that's a great point, actually, that Christine's making. Chris, you got to stop spraying that. That is phytotoxic, and it's not going to help. Modern research says leave it alone. Just let it stay open, get oxygen. That's going to create an aerobic condition, which will suppress fungal pathogens from getting in there. So, oh, hold on. I don't want to see my ugly mug. So yeah, that black spot, those are not like pathogens or anything bad. That's actually just spray paint. And it's really, really bad, really phytotoxic to the tree. So Chris, stay away from that stuff. We've known for about 50 years in the industry that actually slows down the compartmentalization rate. So leave it alone, let it air dry. Tree is designed to seal those wounds. So yes. And then sprouting arborist, I love it. Can I comment questions on here? Please, please, please. Yes, please is my answer. I said use on accident, but that worked out well because you is a type of tree. So happy accident. We're moving on. So Southern Wisconsin, Mr. Dan. Hey, buddy, I'm sorry, but the one that's there is unalived. The other one is at risk of unaliving right now because you did sorry, not personal, just business. Somebody did a very bad job planting that tree, and you're going to want to do some radial trenching and some vertical mulching. And I think that's going to go a long ways into helping that tree thrive and survive. Here we go. It's getting plenty of water and you don't see anything on it. I would say actually maybe too much water, honestly. I mean, I could be wrong. It happens more than once, just about every day. So yeah, ask my wife. She'll tell you all about it. Yeah, that's the thing is I'm not seeing root flares. You got to expose those root flares. We talk about it all the time. You got to get those root flares exposed. And the other thing too, of course, is, hey, check out my last video. Got to love that pumpkin face on there. This is the most overlooked factor in tree care that I see is you want to look at the consequences. Anytime you're addressing anything on your tree, whether it's plant health care, structure, pruning, unalived wood, whatever, you want to make sure that you are considering the consequences, because whenever we're looking at structural integrity and potential bad things happening with trees, we look at A, what's the likelihood of failure? B, what are the consequences? Because if a tree falls in the forest, who cares? But if it falls on your family, everybody cares, including the media. So make sure to do that. I think you got some trees that are really stressed. They were planted wrong. 9 times out of 10, it's too much, too little water, too much or too little water, or poor drainage, and you've got water pooling in there. Again, that screwdriver test is going to be your best friend. So make sure to hit up the channel here. I got all kinds of great videos, and y'all, for those of you that want to learn more, hit us up on the web on Facebook, or excuse me, on YouTube. Just look up Arborist on Demand. That's my company, and that's our YouTube channel. And we teach this stuff all day, every day of the week. So hit us up over there and come be a subscriber too. We'd love to have you guys. So we're moving on. Yeah, I think Joe's right. I think you got a watering issue of some sort. Watering or a drainage issue, of course. Moving on. Here we go. All right. So Norel, is it? That's a unique name. I've never met a Norel before. Can somebody please tell me why this tree is unaliving? What do I do to help it? Is it too far gone? Well, I will say that is a weeping cherry of some sort. Beautiful. They got blooms on it. It looks like, or maybe those are brown leaves. I'm sorry. Okay, so you top the tree. That's first things first. You've got root flares that are buried. You've got probably planted wrong 5-10 years ago, whenever it was planted. How old is it? Jesse's asking. I don't know. I bought the house almost 2 years ago. When I had, the top was already starting to bear. The neighbor shared, thinking it had been struck by lightning. I think your neighbor's wrong. Nothing personal to your neighbor. Looks like drought. Getting on a watering schedule might help. It's hard to tell, but it looks like the root flares are also buried. Yep, that's what I saw too, Christine. Spot on again. You are crushing it. I'm wondering when you're going to get your Arbo certification. I know you got like cancer patient lives to save and everything. So go do that. People are more important than trees, I promise.
and looks like a wound to the left and looks like the collar is slightly buried. Not slightly, I see an extensively buried collar. I would be willing to, yeah, yikes. Michael, another top-notch arborist. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, there are irrigation lines, but not utilized on a set schedule. Actually, that's great. On a new tree, you want to water it lots, but not so much that it's pooling water in there. Let's go through a little watering 101. So whenever you've got a new tree, what do y'all think of my daughter's art? That's her art there. I love it. Okay. So whenever you got a new tree, what you're going to get typically is you're going to get a root ball. Now, maybe a container grown tree and maybe a bare root tree. What's up? Oh yeah, I'll get to that here in a minute. Let me finish this one. All right. So you've got a container grown, a bare root, or a ball and burlap style tree. Now, whenever the guys plant that tree, 9 times out of 10, they do the planting hole too shallow because they're lazy. They don't want to do the work. So what they do is they give it like maybe an inch or two of extra space. There you go. Now you can see me better. They give it an inch or two, 1 to 2 inches of extra space. Now, here's what happens. Those roots are actively trying to push through that existing soil. Now, if you've got a clay soil, they're going to get to that and they're going to be like, whoa, that sounds like a lot of work. I'm not going to go that direction. They're going to come right back in the hole. Now, on top of that, you got your irrigation guys, your landscape nuts that come in and they put an irrigation bubbler right here. And what it's doing is it's filling that whole hole. Hole. See what I did there? Just play on words. I like puns. I like words. Now, you've got a tree that is in the process of drowning right here. We call it the teacup effect. Like that. Teacup effect. And if you remember from 8th grade science, or maybe 6th grade, maybe 12th grade, I don't know, it depends where you are. Water wants to go from high pressure to low pressure. So that beautiful planting container that the tree came in is a low pressure soil. And the reason being is because they use compost, mulch, they use all this fluffy organic matter to make sure that you've got an ideal growing condition for those trees because they want to get it really big so they can sell it to you for maximum value. It's a money game, plain and simple. Now, you go and put that in your clay soil and you've got a high pressure, compacted, terrible, horrible, no good, very bad soil. Typically, not always. Sometimes for you organic nuts, you got great soil. Keep on keeping on. Most people, though, especially on a new build home or something like that, is you're going to have terrible soil. And so what's happening is those roots get there and they start trying to push through into the new soil and they just can't. On top of that, you've got all this water coming in, drowning the roots, and that's no good. What you need to do, a couple things. You need to open up that soil. So if you can, let's do this. This is called radial trenching. There we go. What you could do is dig little trenches all around the edges there. This will counteract the effects of those bad planting practices. And it will allow water to drain out and your roots to grow out. Very important. So one of my favorite things to do on a poorly planted, terrible, horrible, no good, very bad planting job of a tree is I will allow, just open that up. Radial trenching is so awesome because it just stinking works. Not always. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes the damage is too far gone. The tree's just not going to make it. But 9 times out of 10, you've got more oxygen because you're backfilling with compost. And again, let me go ahead and post that video up here too, because I love that video. It's a great video. I'm biased too. So all right, this is the most recent one we did. I got to make some more long form videos because I'm lazy and I need to fix that. Nobody likes a lazy arborist. Yo, radial trenching. Woohoo! Yep, Christine's got it right. Yep, I think radial trenching is going to be your best friend here. I don't even remember your name. I'm sorry. Michael was talking. Norel, thank you. Yeah, so try that radial trenching. But quite frankly, I'm going to be real honest with you. I don't think your tree's going to make it. I think it's too far gone, and it may be better to just go ahead and replant, remove it, replant, and make sure it's set up properly beforehand. I've got an ebook. Let me see if I can find it actually. And maybe on my other computer, y'all. Book proposal, y'all. By the way, I don't know if y'all know this, but I am writing a book. It's actually written. It's done, went and got written, but I haven't published it yet because I got a lot of editing and some pictures to add and all that. All right, I'm gonna find this. Ooh, that's fun. Memories, y'all. I'm looking at things y'all can't even see it right now, but I'm going through some memories of mine and seeing some good stuff. I got some work to do now that I'm looking at that, but yeah, I'm not seeing it, but I do have a kind of a little ebook. I'm gonna go ahead and post the link here, probably to the Facebook group tomorrow. I'm not gonna lie, I've had a long day, you guys. We had some crazy. Actually, here, let's check it out. Photos. I can't show you some of these, so I got to be discretionary about it. By the way, y'all, that's Houston Mayor. He helped us out on a project and saved a ton of trees. He's a great dude. I don't care what they say. Yeah, this was our project today. Oop, here we go. We did some time-lapse work. So my job was, of course, to keep the trees alive, but this is just a fun little video. So this is a 27,000-pound generator that they're adding to this high-profile, high-rise condominium unit in Houston, Texas, right off of Montrose. And y'all, it was so cool. We were able to preserve the trees. I just got a text message. Here's some of the trees we had to work around. Is right here. Is they basically had to bring that crane in here. So I was doing a little bit of pruning there, making sure the trees were in good shape and they weren't getting desecrated too much. So, but I'm not the expert. To me, I believe as long as it's not too much more than 20% of the foliage. Okay. So yeah. So anyways, we had these big cranes rolling through here. There's the generator rolling up. Like that was crazy. There's one of the electricians that was with us. And y'all, it was nuts. We got it done and nobody unalived and the trees didn't unalive. And we were able to preserve everything because it's a beautiful community with beautiful trees. So may as well. We really need to. All right. So, oh yeah, here we go. I got to show you all this one too. This is fun. I was doing time-lapse stuff and kind of working with it. And check it out. They took that big 27,000-pound generator and we moved it and had some cranes out there helping us. Because I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not about to move a 27,000-pound machine without some serious help there. But yeah, I was tinkering around with the fast play, but isn't that cool? Y'all be seeing some more of that later on, and I'll do some dub overs. But anyways, back to our question. Sorry, I'm getting distracted here, y'all. I'm getting tired too. So we're going to call it here in just a bit and maybe come back and catch up next Tuesday. But Narelle, I think you're maybe better off starting from scratch. Honestly, you got a very, very little foliage left on that tree. And I think you'd be better off maybe just replanting. So I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but Sprouting Arborist, yo, what's up, buddy? What insects on pecan trees bore in the shady side of the bark and cause the new branch tips to blacken? I found some of my grandparents' young pecan trees when I pruned them very lightly yesterday. Did you actually find the borers, or did you find the evidence or the symptoms maybe? Try not to prune too much because it's a bad time of year. You're right. I just can't do it any other time of year. I mostly removed stubs and made reduction on crossing branches. Great. Well done, Sprouting Arborist. You are sprouting like crazy, man. Keep that up. I tried not to prune too much. That is very true. This time of year, your trees are going to be stressed naturally. Anytime you prune, it's going to stress them out more. So great thinking there. You're on the right track. I just found, okay, great. Thank you. That helps a lot. So he's saying, Shanna, I've just found the evidence of the boards. I'm assuming by evidence that you mean like actual exit wounds, or are you talking more like just the browning of the tips? Because the browning of the tips, typically is going to be fungal, if not water or drainage issues, but it could be borers. Very, very easily could be. Pruning in the winter. Yeah. If you can prune in the winter, yes, way better. Almost invariably. There's some exceptions, of course. Like dead tissue, get rid of it anytime, y'all. That's okay. But yeah, if you find in the evidence of the borers, there's one called pecan scab. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. Is a really, really common one. If you're asking about borers for pecans, that's a really common. There are a couple of really common ones are the hickory chestnut borers. You've got bronze birch borers will attack them. You've got flat-headed borers will attack them. There's a whole host that'll attack the. But thanks so much for joining us, Amanda. Yeah, it's great to see you. I found the exit wounds and the tip blackening. Cool. Okay, yeah, you see you got some sort of borer. Imamectin benzoate is my absolute favorite one. Yes. Yeah. Hey, look at that. I have to bounce. Thank you so much. I love finding people as passionate about trees as I am. Yes, you would be shocked at how many, I was talking to Christine and she said, I bought the house because of the trees. I was like, you wouldn't believe how many people that say the exact same thing. Maybe 80% of the clients that I work with are like, they bought the tree or they bought the house because of the tree. Now I've got a friend of mine. He's his name's James Coleman, and he's one of the top expert witnesses for tree care in the world. Namely, because he's not just an expert witness, he's actually an attorney as well as being a consulting arborist. Great dude. And I remember in a conference that he was teaching, he stood up on stage and he said, check this out. This is an oak tree, live oak tree, a coastal live oak. He says, this is my tree, and we bought the tree, and the house happened to come with it. And so I love that because he ain't alone, y'all. So many people I know, that's exactly why they buy the house, is because of the trees. And so trees they're just such a critical part of our lives and our homes and our families, and they're just great. Like, we love trees, like they're awesome. And there's research to prove the same, that they actually provide so many benefits to our lives. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's get maybe a couple more questions in, and we're going to call it for the night, you guys and gals. All right, Lorianne is saying, hello, I have a catalpa tree with its fungus inside. Does that mean it needs to be cut down? Can anything be done to save it? Well, it looks like the damage is on the back side of the tree, maybe facing the back side of the property. And the tree, if it were to fall, is going to fall opposite of where that decay is. I think the root flares being buried is maybe a more likely. It looks like you're looking up ChatGPT too to see what's going on. I love it. Yeah, robots are awesome. They should not be a replacement for us. They should be an addition. Let's see. Reasons I completely forwent buying a new house. I wanted really tall, established trees. Yeah, I bought a new house, and Christine, I regret it. I like, it's not better for fungus inside the house, for mold inside of the house. And quite frankly, I miss big trees. I heard catalpa and it regained my attention. What's up? Yeah, I love catalpa trees. They've got like these giant, like 12-inch heart-shaped leaves and like these giant, like 14 to 18-inch bean sprouts. Super cool trees. And yeah, Lorianne, you're right. I think you've got some structural issues there. I think you've got a kind of you need to expose those root flares. You got to get that grass and that soil away from the trunk and expose those root flares. Now, I'll go and draw it again. It's very, very important. Look at this freaking mess I'm making on this board. We need a new sheet. No more. There we go. All clean, y'all. No more my pens or my markers. What's up? All right. So anytime you got a tree, it doesn't matter if it's young, old, big, small, evergreen, deciduous, whatever. It's got to have root flares. It's so critical. At the base of the tree, you've got to have root flares. If you do not, it will introduce all sorts of problems into your life. So very important to get those root flares exposed. What we're going to have to do, Lorianne, and again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but or push my own agenda here, but we got to really take a closer look on this one. And, you know, what we can do is do a tree risk assessment virtually. We can take a look at what is the, yes, absolutely correct. Christine, once again, well done. You are learning just so much. I love it. So what we'd have to do is do a tree risk assessment on that tree and make sure that it is safe for you guys to live around. It looks like you got some playthings back there, and it does look like the tree's trying. And overall, I see a pretty healthy tree, so it may be okay. But we got to make sure that tree's safe for you and your family. Make sure it doesn't come crashing down on you guys or your house or your car or your property or whatever. So hope that helps, Lorianne. Like I said, I'd love to get on a Zoom chat with you and figure out what's going on. Looks like you're in the Canadians, don't you know? What's up, neighbor? All right, we're moving on. Kevin's asking, my oak tree looks like this year. All my other ones look great. Any ideas what might be wrong with this one? Yeah, you got some bugs chewing on it. You got some fungus chewing on it. You got some galls. Those little bumps there are typically insects are laying their eggs inside of the leaf there, and then the tree kind of gets this weird growth around it. You got an extremely stressed tree that all those pathogens and pests are taking advantage of that stressed tree. So I don't have a lot of pictures there, but yes, okay, that's a great idea. Santino is saying take it to your local ag extension. I agree. Here's a great list of that. And while you're on the website, feel free to check out some of the other blogs there as well. And again, if you need an actual closer look at it, click that link and just click on one of the buttons to schedule a time. We'll take a look at it, figure out what's going on, and see if we can help you out. We're moving on. What's up, Lindsay? All right. So yeah, that's a good point. That we're gonna end on this one, guys. This group is just blowing my leaves away, you guys. Y'all are just awesome, and I'm so glad to be a part of this group. And thank you guys so much for being here. We have attracted some of the top talent in the world, literally, and Lindsay is one of those. Lindsay's a phenomenal guy. Let me look it up because this is great. All tree stuff. If I can I'm so tired right now, you guys. I had a long day. Like I said, I've been out and about since like 6:30 this morning. What already ended? Here we go. It didn't already end. What are you talking about, Lucas? Okay, so this is just one of the many courses that Lindsay teaches. He look at this, pass guarantee. Now, what that pass means is that's a certified arborist preparation course. So I've taken this course many times. I rented it a couple times for me, a couple times from some other guys that worked for me. And just a phenomenal dude, just a world-class arborist, knows his stuff front ways and back ways. I have learned a ton from him personally. And he's got the same credentials that I do, the BCMA and RCA that you see right here behind me. But just a great guy. We've got him. We've got Shem Kendrick. We've got Lindsay Purcell. Who else is here? Michael Gabrizi. Like, just so many unbelievably good dudes when it comes to tree care. And like y'all, like we're all passionate. We love this stuff. So stick around, continue to be a part of this group. We love having you guys, and we're just super grateful for all the top talent. He did a course. I think it was free, actually. I didn't get a chance to get on it myself, but I welcome him to post stuff like that, because this is a great resource for all y'all that want to learn more. By the way, on the 28th of this month, I'm teaching another course on trees as well. And it's through a group called Arborist Institute. So head on over to arboristinstitute.com. Here it is. Institute.com and sign up for their newsletter. And they have all different kinds of really cool people on this planet that are teaching things about trees that you want to know about. And so feel free to come join us. Like, sign up for the one that we're doing here on the 28th, and any of the other courses. Like, if you want to know more, that's a great resource. Here's another great resource, is treesaregood.com. Oh, I need to type that here, not there. treesaregood.com is actually a website sponsored by the International Society of Arboriculture. And also, if you ever need to check and see if an arborist is who they say they are, this is a great way you can do so. You can go to verify a credential and just type in their name, search by first name. Here you go. Lindsay Purcell. ISA BCMA, ISA Tree Risk Assessment Qualified. Check it out. You can even look me up if you want. I don't care. San Leon, ISA BCMA. I'm waiting on that tree risk assessment too. But another great website is aska-consultants.org. And again, if you really need somebody that's into litigation, expert witness type stuff, you can click on the Find a Consulting Arborist and just go right here, and you can say, like, let's say, good old Houston, Tejas. That's Spanish for Texas, by the way, back when they owned it. And there, where is it? That's Joe. He's my buddy. There's me. What's up, y'all? I'm an RCA. I'm the only one in Houston, actually. Until Michael gets there. Where you at, Michael? Yo, pay your membership dues, man. Get back on there, buddy. Anyways, so, hey, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute joy and pleasure to put this on and teach you guys some more things about your trees. Hey, we're going to get back online Tuesday next week. I don't know what that is. When is that? No, it's Tuesday. No, today's Thursday. We're going to get there Tuesday next week. Today's Thursday. We're going to get there. You're gone. No, I'm just messing with mine too, but yeah, we're going to get Tuesday the 12th. We'll probably do like an afternoon session, maybe 3 or 4 in the afternoon. We'll come on here and we'll answer more of your great questions because they just keep going on coming in. You guys are amazing. And we appreciate all of you for being a part of this group. Again, we're like just growing and thriving. If you have it in there in you to share this to your Facebook page, we'd love to spread the news. We're doing everything we can to just get as many people out here because, quite frankly, trees are important to us in our daily lives. Some of y'all don't even realize that. Do you like apples? Apples come from trees. Do you like oranges? Oranges come from trees. Do you like oxygen? Oxygen comes from trees. So trees are important to us, you guys, and it's important that we take care of them properly. Think of them like our green pets. Is they are a big. What's up, Ed Dolphin? What's up, big guy? He's this guy was the former ISA Texas chapter president. He just joined about an hour ago. Hope you got to make it to the live stream there, Ed, and critique my work. Feel free to, man. I'm happy. Like if you find something I'm missing or something I say wrong, I'd love to know because Ed's one of those that, again, my superior, somebody who's been there and done that a lot longer than I have, and we're really attracting these top talent guys out there. So glad to have you, Ed. Thanks for being a part of this group, and y'all. Check us out next week. I'll put out an event probably this weekend and let you know exactly what it's going to be. But if nothing else, come join us next Thursday night. We'll be answering all your great tree questions. And again, if you need help with your trees, hit us up on the web at arboristondemand.com. And if you want to learn more about your trees, again, I'm teaching this stuff just about every day, or at least once a week, or twice a week, or 3 times, or 5 times a week. And go hit us up on the tubes of you over on YouTube. Just look up Arborist on Demand, and you'll find us right there. So thanks again for being a great part of this community, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend.